What's good, everyone? Jets take off. Mike White has started 2 games in a row, and he's looked pretty good in both of them, in my opinion. But the question is, should Mike White be the starter for the rest of the year, or should the Jets bring Zach Wilson back at a later point, like Coach Saleh said today? Coach Saleh said today in Monday's press conference that the plan is still to get Zach Wilson back as the starter at some point later on in the season, but should he really? In my opinion, the answer, it's really mixed because there are pros and cons to both, but in my eyes right now, the Jets should stick with Mike White for the rest of the year. And I understand why the Jets want Zach Wilson to be back, obviously, because they drafted him number 2. They believe he is the franchise quarterback, and if we kind of don't play him the rest of this season, there's going to be more questions than answers regarding Zach Wilson. But if we were to play him potentially in the last 3 games, then Joe Douglas and his staff can evaluate Zach Wilson and really determine, hey, should we target a quarterback in free agency, in the draft, keep Mike White, or is Zach Wilson the guy? Will he show progress? So I understand that perspective, and that's totally fair for wanting him to get on the field. I totally understand wanting Zach to showcase what time on the bench has done and what he could be with really good mechanics, because his ceiling is through the roof, right? But at the same time, the Jets are in the middle of a playoff hunt right now. I mean, it would be a disservice, in my opinion, a disservice to just throw Zach Wilson back as the starting quarterback when potentially we're winning games with Mike White. Let's say we beat Buffalo next week. Why would we take Mike White out? What if we beat the Lions? Why would we take Mike White out, right? It just doesn't really seem to make sense. And if, let's just say, Zach comes back and we lose out, right? There's going to be a lot of questions around Coach Saleh, and guys in the locker room are going to be frustrated, and they might question whether Coach Saleh is prioritizing a player over the rest of them, because it's not fair to the rest of the group. It's not fair to all of the 52 other players on this football team, the New York Jets, that have played very well this entire season. These guys are dying to get to the playoffs. Not only what it would mean to them, but also the franchise and the fans as a whole. I mean, this franchise has been deprived of quality football, and we're finally seeing it, right? And in my eyes, Mike White has delivered quality football. I know against the Vikings, he had 2 interceptions, but in my opinion, both of them were not his fault. The first one was a drop by Tyler Conklin, I believe, or Corey Davis. And then the second one, he was getting the ball in the end zone. There was less than 20 seconds left in the fourth quarter. The ball had to be in the end zone on 4th and 10 to have a chance to even win the game. So both of them are not his fault. And since Mike White has been here, he's operated the offense at a high level, in my opinion. I mean, he was asked to throw the ball 57 times against the Minnesota Vikings. 57 times. Does that not show you how offensive coordinator Mike LaFleur trusts Mike White, how he wants the ball in Mike White's hands instead of just running and running and running, and like before where Zach Wilson would maybe finish with 20 passing attempts? No, Mike White almost got 60 this past week, and he almost got 30 against the Bears. But Mike White has operated this offense efficiently, and we have a legitimate passing attack now to where in back-to-back games we've had running backs go over, I think, 90 yards each. Bam Knight did it against the Vikings. I think he did it too against the Chicago Bears. So, right, our running game is opening up a lot. James Robinson, it's not like the Jets are just only passing the football and they can't run the football. No, Mike White has really opened up the entire thing. We're seeing Mike LaFleur trying to stretch the field a little bit with some of these play calls, which I really like. It's because he trusts Mike White, and Mike White overall is very accurate, decisive, precise, and he's great mechanics and fundamentals for football. I saw him stepping into throws. I saw him maneuvering the pocket. I saw him climbing the pocket against the Minnesota Vikings. All of those traits are very promising and intriguing. If you're Joe Douglas, you gotta be thinking, do we potentially have a franchise quarterback here? Because let's just say we give Mike White the rest of the season as QB1. Those are valuable reps, and he's going to build chemistry with his teammates. If he can play and finish the season very well, next season, I would not mind rolling with Mike White, with the entire offseason dedicated to Mike White, with him being able to really study and learn the playbook even more, potentially open it up more. Mike LaFleur creating up more plays for Mike White because he knows he can do stuff that Zach Wilson was simply not doing before. I mean, it really opens up the door. And Mike White, he's young, he's got potential, he was really good in college. The guys rally around him. I'd stick with him. I really would. Mike White made a lot of anticipation throws against the Vikings. He made a lot of tight window throws. He made some big time throws. Listen, it sucks because Mike White missed a few big plays. The one that stands out to my mind is the one to Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson torched Patrick Peterson. It would have been wide open. It would have been a walk-in touchdown if Mike White delivered the football. It was barely out of the stretch of Garrett Wilson's fingertips. Listen, those throws, they're tough. But this is only Mike White's second start game of 2022, right? So you got to think with more time, he's gonna start to make those throws more. So in my eyes, I'd roll with Mike White the rest of the year, see what we have in him, and really let Zach Wilson focus on his mechanics and fundamentals. You cannot play quarterback at a high level in the NFL if you do not have fundamentals, mechanics, if you're not playing like a true NFL quarterback, if you're not stepping into throws, if you're not maneuvering the pocket, if you're not looking to throw first instead of running, then you are not an NFL quarterback. You have to have mechanics locked down. It has to happen, especially with a guy with so much potential who's very inconsistent. Mechanics will make you consistent. And if his mechanics are consistent, then Zach Wilson will be that franchise quarterback. I really believe so. So in my eyes, though, I'd roll with Mike White the rest of the year. I don't think it's blasphemy to say. He looked very good in my eyes against the Minnesota Vikings. A few missed throws, yes. The interceptions, not his fault in my opinion. He played very well. And in my eyes, that's Mike fucking White. So let me know what you think about this video. I'd love to hear what you think and have to say about this. I know it's a little bit of a controversial topic, but yeah, let me know what you think, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.